Welcome to the Wellness in a Chaotic World podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl Davis. Before we dive in, I wanted to note that as a health and wellness coach, I can support you in making sustainable lifestyle changes, tuning into your own wisdom, and building habits that align with your values and vision for your well being. I don't prescribe or treat health conditions, as I'm not a doctor or a mental health professional. Instead, I can walk alongside you as you create a healthier life on your terms. From time to time, I share conversations with guests. The views and opinions expressed by those guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect my views or those of anyone associated with wellness in a chaotic world. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always talk to your doctor or qualified mental health provider about any physical or mental health concerns. This is the Wellness in a Chaotic World podcast, a place where we're having conversations about what it really takes to live well in our unhealthy, chaotic world. I'm your host, Cheryl Davis. If you're beating yourself up over a bag of chips you ate in a stressed out frenzy, or you can't figure out how anyone manages to find the time to even think about wellness, you're in the right place. We talk about all of these things and more because, frankly, we don't talk to each other enough about what we're really up against every day. Let's change that right now. For today's episode, I had a chat with LaVonna Willingham. She says that in the fall of 2022, she started to feel unwell. She knew her health was declining, but the standard blood work and her doctors said everything was fine. Knowing that everything was not fine, she decided she needed to get to the root of why she wasn't feeling well. She found herself a doctor who practices functional medicine, an approach that is about treating patients as whole humans. It recognizes that the different systems in the body, like circulatory, respiratory, digestive, etc., are all one big connected system. Fast forward to a few months later, and LaVonna was not only feeling better and able to take less of her thyroid medication, she was also launching a new virtual assistant business. LaVonna's story shows her grit and love of life, and I find her to be an inspiration. I hope you enjoy hearing her story as much as I did. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hey Cheryl, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good to
Thanks.
talk with you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So tell me a little bit about your health journey and how starting your own business played into that.
Okay. So a year ago, September, October of 2022, I had just been really feeling bad. I was helping a friend with his franchise and running his business and working about 60 hours a week. And I was just wore out. So I started thinking, well, I really want to work less hours. I want to um, find something that I could find joy in, working part time for myself. And yeah, my health, I went to my regular doctor. I had blood work done. I had them check all the things. I've been on thyroid medicine for 15 years. I've been on compounding hormones for about 4 years and everything checked out. You're fine, you're fine, everything's great. But I knew it wasn't. So that started me researching functional medical doctors, naturopathic doctors, just anything, anybody in that field that can maybe do a deeper dive. And so with that, I found a functional medical doctor who is only about 2 hours away from where I live. And the cool thing with her business was not only that what she practiced medicine, and then she also ended up really focusing on the holistic end of it. But she also has a partner who is a functional pharmacist who had his own compounding pharmacy and did all the things and also turned functional. So I'm like, wow, I've hit the jackpot because I have a doctor and a pharmacist. So anyway, that's kind of what started me digging in deeper. I met with her in October of 2022, and she has a 15-week program. And through her program, she tested my gut, she tested my hormones, and did a deeper dive into the blood work, more so than what an allopathic doctor or regular doctor would do. And so, anyway, found that my thyroid was not functioning completely. My hormones were way out of whack, but also saw that my adrenal glands were just in overload. And so that's something I've never had tested before, and that was new to me. So the immediate goal was to get my adrenal glands calmed down, so that all the other things could hopefully go back to functioning the way that they're supposed to. So that was my immediate goal, was to do that. And through her 15-week program, I accomplished that. Um, I did some fasting. They introduced me to a book and a professor who created a product called Prolon, who really believes in the blue zones. And so I did a 5-day fast, started researching all things blue zones and how people in these areas live to 100 and how they're not on medication. And I don't know, it was just inspirational is what I needed through this journey. And so anyway, midway through the journey, I met again with Dr. K and went over some things that what Rob, the pharmacist, had found, and had set some goals for me to reach coming to the end of the program. And when I reached the end of the program, my adrenal glands were calm. My thyroid had done so well that I was able to decrease the amount of thyroid medicine that I was on, or the dosage, which really totally got me excited, because in my mind, I've always been told, well, you're going to be on this the rest of your life. But now knowing that maybe I don't have to, because I've already decreased the amount of thyroid medicine that I'm on. So anyway, that is kind of it in a nutshell, but that also that's how my journey started. And I'm still on it right now. It just opens so many doors to, well, if this, if we dug in deep on a root cause on this, well, what about other areas of my life? And so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So when you say they dig deep, like was your experience? They start with everything, right? They
Yes.
ask you about like your
Right.
childhood.
Well, true. Yeah, I left that part out. So in the initial root cause visit that I have with Dr. K Corpus, I thought when I met with her that it was just going to be, oh, I'm going to switch from regular medications to supplements. And, that in my mind, that's what it was going to be about. But no, it was a deep dive into, um, she looks at your spiritual, your emotional, your psychological, all the things. There was 4 things that they look at, and so spiritual, emotional, psychological, and physical. And with that, she had me looking into just past traumas, and asking me questions like, well, what would 5-year-old LaVonna say about that? And I've never really thought about 5-year-old LaVonna. So that kind of led me down a path of just addressing some things that I've held on to my whole life, and really didn't want to go down that road, but I'm so very thankful that I did. So yes, that opened me up to, I've read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. That's another really good book. And How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Just started digging into, it's not just about what we eat. It's not just about the physical exercise. It's also our thoughts and things that we've carried, whether it be with trauma or just things that have happened to us. And so I'm like, I want all of this worked out. I want to live to 100, love all my grandkids, and just whatever I can do to heal and be better for myself and for my family. So yeah, she really does address that. And it's got me all excited about studying mindset, mindfulness, meditation, and all those things. And it has really been a tremendous help. So yeah.
So what would you say would be with mindset? Like, what's the biggest takeaway for you?
Well, so I had a class also with Kathy Heller. She has a great podcast, and along with what Kay was doing, I started listening to Kathy Heller, and she had this workshop called 8 days, 8K in 8 days. And I thought, well, this sounds interesting. So as I was going through this workshop, she really dives deep into just your money mindset. So it's not just about money, but I'm thinking, hey, I'm good with money. I've, done the Dave Ramsey thing. I'm pretty low maintenance. But as we did a deep dive into the money mindset, which, is helpful also when you want to run your own business, she said to draw a circle, and this circle represents you. And then from that circle, you're going to draw uh, another circle above that, and that's your mother. And then another circle above that, and that's your grandmother. And she had us dive into, how did they handle money? What did they think about money? And those things really, I've never thought about that either. Kind of opened me up to my grandmother never drove. She was a stay-at-home mom, and so when my grandfather got home from the weekend, he would give her money, and they would go. Maybe he would take her out on a Friday night, or she would have allowance, however they looked at it. But so, I never really thought about the money mindset on maybe scarcity thoughts or limiting beliefs, or even anything negative. But so that just in particular, I was looking at the money mindset. I also was reached out to a lady here local in Paducah who teaches Reiki, but she's also a life coach. And as I took a couple of sessions with her on life coach, and I was bringing up some things, and I mentioned, I said something, oh, my fat ankle or something like that. And she's like, don't say that, say that your ankles are strong and supportive. And so she started really diving in deep with just how I talk about myself, my thoughts that I have about myself, which I guess I always thought that I was a pretty positive, outgoing person, and I really didn't have a lot of negative thoughts, but I did. And I still do. I still struggle with some of that, but I catch myself now. And so anyway, those two particular exercises that I did with the money mindset and just things that I say to myself, um, just had me thinking more on the lines of, you can kind of recognize it in other people when you're talking to them. And then I start wanting to life coach them. Oh, but if you do this, this is so helpful. But anyway, yeah, I have found that probably through this healing journey that I have really focused a lot on the mindset and just things that we say to ourselves, our limiting beliefs, our scarcity mindset for myself. Um, and I wouldn't want that for my grandkids. I don't want it for my children. So why would I want that for myself? And sometimes I think as women, can't speak for men, but sometimes as women and mothers and grandmothers, we tend to put ourselves last. And we put our kids first, or our grandkids, or other people. And that's not doing them any favors. So um, the mindset work has been very helpful for me.
Yeah, it kind of changes the way you show up in the world, I think.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And, one of the things my life coach asked me was, well, what do you do for fun? You need to have some fun in your life. And I really couldn't list anything, although I don't have any complaints about my life because I spend it mainly with my family, my grandkids and my husband. Um, but if I had to make a list of things I did for fun, I couldn't make a list of things. So I started thinking about crocheting and coloring and painting and roller skating and all the things that I used to do when my girls were little and we would do things together. But sometimes it's adding some of that in there as well. And one thing Kathy Heller said in one of her podcasts that's really resonated with me too is one of the best things, or probably the best things that you can do is, or offer, is your enthusiasm, and from that comes your energy. And so, and if you dissect that deeper, then what gives you energy? And if you're living with your best potential, and you're having fun, and you're doing your life's purpose, and you're being generous, and all these things, it all kind of goes together.
Hey there, it's Cheryl. I'm jumping in here to quickly talk to you about food, stress eating, and plain old overeating. I talk a lot about how our environment is obesogenic and it's stacked against us, where the grocery stores are packed with junk and our lives are overscheduled. So it's not really a surprise, probably, to you that learning how to overcome these challenges has been one of my biggest opportunities for growth. I spent years reading tips and tricks from reputable sources, but nothing seemed to stick. There was a time when I thought the endless cycle of stress induced cravings for sugar and crunchy snacks would never end. But when I broke down all of the advice I was hearing into three essential categories, I ended up building myself a system. It helped me remember how to handle each of my more difficult moments with food. And if you're interested, I'd like you to have it for free. There's a link in the show notes where you can opt in to receive my quick start guide called Escape the Emotional Eating Maze: Three Keys That Unlock the Path to a Mindful Relationship with Food. If this resonates with you, please don't waste another minute of your life feeling like you're out of control when it comes to your food. Download the guide today and let's navigate this path to a healthier, happier you together. So now you have your own virtual assistant business?
Yeah. So when I decided that going from 60 hours a week to maybe 20, 24, what was I going to do? What does that look like? And what can I do immediately that, can make up that income, but I would still like to have the same income, but working 20, 24 hours. And so I just started researching franchises. I did a test through a franchise broker on with my personality, kind of some matchups that would, or different franchises that would match my personality, and spoke to those franchisors and got some ideas from them. And then, but I just kept thinking I could create something on my own. I mean, that all those sounded great, but I wasn't sold completely on that's the route that I wanted to take. And so I just started making a list. So what am I good at? What is something I could do? And throughout my lifetime, I've had a lot of support roles. I've done business development, sales, and I just thought, well, I could be a virtual assistant. So with that, I made a list of people that I thought, well, I'll just go see if they need a virtual assistant. And my question to them was, if you own or run a business and you have a to-do list a mile long, and there's something on that list that you hate, can't stand to do, or don't have time to do, hire me. And probably within a couple of weeks, I had my plate full. I had as many people as I needed with as much work as I needed at that time. So, and this was in April. I left, I gave my boss a 2 week notice. And so I left in March and started my business in April. And so my big vision, I guess, with that, I've put down like I want to go through these 5 phases. Immediately, I just needed work to make sure that I hit my budget, I could pay my bills, that life was good. And then, so what is my big vision after that? And I want to help people, whether that's particularly women, start their own business. And I've mentored probably 5 other ladies and helped them along the way starting a small business. And but then also coaching and maybe leaving that open to doing workshops or retreats and things like that. And I'm trying to put together what that looks like. And I love the mindset, the meditation, all those things in that, whether it's in leadership, whether it's something to help you personally grow as a woman business owner, or just a woman in general, like maybe where you might be stuck in life. And so all those things I'm kind of putting together right now.
So I know one of the big concepts with mindset is that you will go through dips. Now, what are some of the ways that you keep yourself from staying in the dip, right? Because we all go through them, but it's
Right.
about pulling ourselves back out of them
Yeah.
or preventing or trying to prevent them.
Right. Yeah. No, I would love to just live happily ever after and not experience those dips. But it's in the dips that we grow and we learn things. And so, um, in my when I set like a goal, I have a little goal poster, and in one area it focuses on career, which seems to be my strong suit. It comes easy. I don't have to think about it as much. Another area, with the mindset, I'm loving that. But an area that I do struggle with is like my weight and being physically fit. My husband will get and I will get up on a Monday, we'll do some B shred, we'll work out, and then by Tuesday, we're not doing it Wednesday. So I have areas that I definitely need to work on. And I'm like, well, why is it I'm stronger in some areas and not others? And I can be like your biggest cheerleader. Oh, well, I can help you with that. But then in this other area, well, I need to look in the mirror because I need help with that as well. So tools that I guess I would use in getting out of that dip is, first of all, I don't like feeling that way. I don't like having the feeling of um, I'm a failure. I'm a procrastinator. I don't like myself today because of that, because it's just not good feelings. So then I'm like, well, how can I get out of that? And I'll just go back to the basics with what my Reiki coach, which is my life coach, had told me. She's given me some exercises to use. Um, or just some of my favorite books that I'm reading who will give you just a simple kind of get you back out of that rut. Today, let's just focus on one thing. And then bringing up, whether you like to meditate or not. Meditation was something completely new to me as well through this healing journey that I started last year. Um, I pray and those things, but I've never really focused on meditating as much. And so I've really kind of studied a lot of that as well. And I know just in meditation and bringing up your vibration, it brings up your energy. And so just some of those tools have also helped. I know if you bring your energy up, then sometimes that helps you get out of the slump because you're excited about it. You feel good, you feel better. And sometimes it's just knowing that, you know, I don't like to fold laundry. I wash and dry clothes all day, and I don't have a big pile of dirty clothes, but the clean clothes stay in a basket all wrinkled. So I know that, why do I do that? I just don't like to fold them. But if I say to myself, it's only going to take 10 minutes, and as soon as I knock this out, then I can go on a walk or a bike ride with my dogs, which I love to do. Or I can, reward myself with something that I enjoy. So I think we all have things that maybe aren't our favorite things to do. And maybe that's why we get in a rut, because it's just not, it's just not our favorite thing. And so if you tell yourself, just knock it out and then go do something fun, you're going to feel better about it. So those are just some of the things that I do to try and get out of that rut. First of all, I don't like being in a rut. I don't like the way it makes me feel, even though sometimes I'll sit and wallow in my self pity and all the whatever it is. And then the next day I'm like, I don't like this. What am I going to do? What is my trick or my tool I'm going to use today to get out of this? So that's typically what I'll do. And friends, it helps to have accountability groups. I have a small circle of friends that I've been friends with for years that are in my inner circle that I could tell, I guess, my most secret, deepest desires or whatever. And I know they're my safe zone. So if it's something on that level, I go to them, and go to them either way. But just having also a support group that you may have tried all your tricks and all your things and it's not working. So I need my friends.
Yeah, definitely. I think just being in a community with especially other women, I think, just because we tend to have our own perspective on life, unique challenges. And if you're going through something similar, it can really help to have that community because they're thinking about it in a different way, and it can bring up different
Yeah,
ways for you to handle things as well. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I agree. We need each other.
Yeah. So I'm fascinated by the energy stuff too. It, you know, it to me, it's just like when you feel better,
Mhm.
you start to take, better actions. And from that's how it can actually affect your life. Because, sometimes you think, oh, it sounds a little woo-woo to be talking about your energy and raising your vibration. And people go, what? But to me, I think it's interesting. how it can really affect how you show up in the world and the choices that you make.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started taking the Reiki classes, the purpose in me taking them was just if you could actually heal yourself through your own energy. I wanted to learn about it. I was a little skeptical, but interested. And so through that and being around that community and have just listened to different experiences from that group has helped. And I'm thinking, well, if I have that own ability within myself to do that, why am I not doing it? And so yeah, with and Kathy Heller in particular, I keep going back to her, but she describes it like this. We all have this vibration. We are all everything is energy in the universe, 99% energy. Matter is made from energy. We're made from energy. And we all have a different vibration, just like a radio station. If you're tuning, and who tunes into a radio station these days? But I still listen to our local Christian radio station, K Love, sometimes. But so when you're tuning into that, if you're out of range, it's going to sound staticky. And so she describes it the same as us. If we aren't tuned in, and I'm thinking, well, that's probably why I don't feel as good on some days, because I'm somehow, my static is there and my energy level is low and I'm stuck in something. And so then I start dissecting, all these things that you study can just be tools for you to help figure that out, for you to be at your best. And so, or how to dissect that if you're not. And um Kathy kind of goes into the whole, your amygdala, the back part of your brain, where you're constantly thinking about what you ate yesterday, or maybe that conversation you had with a friend, or maybe something that went sour and it's kind of got you upset about something. Whatever, it's like it replays the movies, is what she calls it, the things in your brain, your memories and things. But what we can do to help bring that in and to keep our energy up also is to be in the front part of your brain, where you're in the now, where you're being very present. And so she gives you tools on practicing that, if that doesn't come easy. And I don't think it comes easy to any of us. And I'm like, there's exercises that you can do to practice that. And so yeah, so the whole energy thing, I've it's definitely helped me. And I'm like, I want to get better at this. And so whether it's better at conditioning my mind to be present, whether that's with my family or my spouse or my friends, or just for myself, and to turn off all those other thoughts that are going on. We have thoughts that come into our mind. Oh my gosh, I forgot to add this to the grocery list, or wow, I had a podcast today instead of next week, or whatever it is. Your brain is just, we just have so many things going on. But it's also connected to the cortisol levels in our body, which, going through this 15-week program with Dr. Corpus, found that that's what gets your adrenal glands up. Your adrenal glands goes off adrenaline, hence adrenal glands, and gets all that cortisol in your body, which is what brings on disease and things like that. So your adrenal glands are there to protect you. If you're in a situation, whether it's fight or flight, but if they're constantly in overload, you just have a lot more cortisol in your body, which leads to inflammation and disease and all these other things. And I think that's what, through this blue zone study, they found that those groups have very low levels of cortisol. And I know I went down a rabbit hole with all of that just then, but it all comes back to our energy.
Yeah, I don't think that was off track at all. And I love what you have to say about it. So, you are obviously an avid reader. What would you say is your favorite book, and what would you suggest to anyone?
Well, because right now my mind is in two areas. I'm like starting business, helping women run a business, start a business. And the other one is just healing, on this healing journey. And the book that I keep going back to, or one that I didn't mention, I'll kind of give you two books, but How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I read it through once, and then I went back and I reread it almost like like if I'm in college and it's a study book, like I'm going to take each chapter and dissect it down. And I'm about ready to read it for a third time. There's just so many nuggets in there that I've taken away from that book. It's been amazing. Another book that I've read is The Empath's Survival Guide by Judith Orloff. Um, because I don't know, I feel like I take on other people's energies, and what does that mean, and how can I help not to do that? That one was a really good one for me. Anything Blue Zones I'm reading right now. There's Blue Zone Challenge, Blue Zone, just what is it? But then there's also another book by Christy Wright, The Business Boutique. It's just a really good, basic, easy to read. It's not basic, but it's easy to read. Just a very good kind of a steps on how to start your own business. Um, so those are kind of my favorites right now.
Those sound really, really interesting, especially the one about energy and not taking on other people's energy.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Empath Survival Guide. Yeah,
yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
So let me go back to something. When you were seeing the functional medicine doctor, were there any drawbacks?
So I guess financially, if you want to talk, I mean, from that, maybe not physically, but financially, they our insurance, the way our insurance companies are set up is they really support big pharmacy. And so the doctors and pharmacy and insurance kind of all go together. You go to the doctor, they say you have a thyroid issue, they put you on thyroid medicine. They don't necessarily dig deep and tell you why. And so that helps the pharmacies, and then the insurance, I don't know, they just seem to go together. Whereas with a functional medical doctor, they're going to tell you, well, maybe you could do something more natural. They're not going to support medicine as much. They don't play that game. And so sometimes you have to pay for it out of pocket. So I guess that could be a I don't know, a deciding factor for some people. I didn't care what it cost. I was going to do it. But, I mean, another area might be just being disciplined. If you're going to invest in going down this route, then it's not a quick fix. You have to have patience with yourself. And I will say, I do like quick fixes. I want to wave a magic wand, snap my fingers, and feel better tomorrow. But sometimes it is a process. And so you have to have patience and just know that what is your end goal? What would you like to look and feel like 3 months from now, a year from now? And if you're still doing the same thing that you've been doing, you're going to feel and look the same or even worse, possibly in a year from now. But what if you could turn that around? Even Atomic Habits is another good book. I'm rereading it. But he says in that book, even if you change just 1% of something, eventually it's going to make a huge difference. And so, and he talks about putting systems in place, not just setting goals, but putting systems where if you just do a little 1% of something, instead of thinking of it as being so overwhelming, that even a small change is going to make a huge difference. So those have been, I don't know that there's a lot of uh, I don't know the right word, if it's negative or challenges, but those I would say could be financially for some people. Um, it could be. And honestly, if you compare it to other things that we spend money on, it's not that bad. And then just wanting it to be fixed right now. Like, I feel bad, I need it fixed right now. I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks, so I want my life to look better, Even like with losing weight. Oh my gosh, I've got 50 pounds to get off and I've got vacation in a month. How can I think our mindset is we just want a quick fix, and it's not a quick fix. But in 15 weeks, I was able to turn my thyroid around. So I think seeing that that you're making small steps that are really big steps helps to encourage you to stay the path.
That is awesome. Well, thank you for your insights. They are amazing. And thank you for being on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope I didn't rattle on too much, but definitely I encourage anybody to seek out a functional medical doctor or a functional pharmacist or any of those things, and just do some research and try something small first to see what you think. And then, it's you only get one body. You only get this is your one life. So um, why not live it the best? We'd want it for our kids. We'd want it for our grandkids. Why not want it for ourselves?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your insights.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. I enjoyed being here and I appreciate you reaching out to me.
So, here are what I think the top 5 takeaways are from today's episode. Number 1, self advocacy is the way to better health. Faced with declining health and getting no answers from standard medical tests, LaVonna took initiative in exploring alternative solutions. Her proactive approach and determination to understand and improve her well being led her to a functional medicine doctor who offered a more comprehensive evaluation. Through a functional medicine program, she successfully improved her thyroid function and adrenal health. Number 2, functional medicine has benefits that aren't fully appreciated by our healthcare system. LaVonna's journey highlights the benefits of functional medicine, which emphasizes the holistic approach that treats patients as whole individuals. Functional medicine looks at the various interconnected systems of the body, aiming to address root causes rather than merely alleviating symptoms. But because we currently have a healthcare system that doesn't fully recognize the benefits of preventative or integrative medicine, access to functional medicine practitioners can be limited by both availability and lack of insurance coverage. Number 3, the mind-body connection is more powerful than most people realize. Our conversation highlighted the significance of addressing not only physical health, but also spiritual, emotional, and psychological aspects. Exploring past traumas and thought patterns became integral to LaVonna's healing, highlighting the interconnectedness of mindset and overall well-being. Number 4, our careers and our personal health are intertwined. LaVonna's journey to starting her virtual assistant business underscores the connection between health and professional aspirations. Our discussion on mindset work points to the importance of addressing limiting beliefs, fostering enthusiasm, and maintaining a positive outlook in both personal and professional spheres. Number 5, life is all about transitions and transformations. LaVonna's story reflects a transformation in her health and life as she transitioned from a full-time career to a business that would support her aspirations in retirement. What we need and what we want out of life changes. Living a happy life is rooted in our ability to adapt to our own changing needs and desires. Thank you for listening to today's episode. To learn more about LaVonna's virtual assistant business, you can visit llbusinessservices.com, and you'll find a link to that in the show notes. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Reviews and ratings will help others find the podcast so they can hear something they might need to hear today, too. You can also find more about each episode on the website at wellnessinachaoticworld.com, or you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, where we can chat more about living well in this stressed-out, chaotic world. And until next time, I hope you have a happy, healthy week. If today's episode resonated with you, our private Facebook group is a great place to dive deeper, ask questions, and share wins with people who understand. It's free, it's private, and you can join by clicking the link in the episode description. I hope to see you there.